What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Bullish Chips, where we use a proven and repeatable strategy to make money every day. This channel focuses on the Bullish Semiconductor ETF, which goes by the ticker symbol SOXL, but our charting and our trading method can be used to trade any company that's publicly traded in the US stock market. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoy this video. It really helps the channel grow. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell as well. Aside from the nightly and weekend videos, we do release bonus content from time to time, so you want to make sure you're notified when those are dropped. Our nightly and weekend videos focus on identifying triggers and targets for trades ranging from scalps and intraday trades to long-term swings and leaps as well. So if you do want a more of like a deeper dive into how we set up our charts and our trading levels, the color coding that we use on our charts, make sure you check out the bonus content on our YouTube page. Excuse me. And also, if you want more information on the strat, which is the base of our trading and charting method, there's more free information in the description of this video. So let's take a look at the agenda for today. We'll go ahead and recap today's price action. Then we'll zoom out like we always do and look at the week, month, quarter, and year. And we'll zoom back in to set our 4-hour markers and our triggers and targets for Wednesday, along with a quick review of the triggers and targets for the week, the month, the quarter, and the year. So I'm just looking at today's intraday price action. Excuse me. You can see we have the 4-hour levels here on the chart. We've got the overnight high at 40.16. We've got previous high day at 39.47, previous low day at 37.37, and the overnight low down here at 35.55. We've also got the opening print, which is the last of our 4-hour markers. It's the first it's the last one that we can mark because it's the first trade of the day, and we can see that trading opened at 36.62. So if you're new to the channel, then from a scalping perspective, especially at the beginning of the day, what we look for is we look for higher lows at or above opening print to get into calls, and we look for lower highs at or below opening print to get into puts. Once you get into a trade, whichever direction you're going, then you have the 4-hour markers that are your targets on the way up or way down. So depending on, say we got the higher low here, the first target would be previous low a day, second target would be previous high a day, and third target would be overnight high. If we got the lower high underneath opening print, our first target would be overnight low, and that would be the last of our targets from the 4-hour markers. We would have to move to our 4-hour and day triggers and targets that we'll get into here in our notes in a second. Also to mention here on the page is, on the chart is the market maker's expected move high at 39.62. If you're not familiar with that level, go ahead and check out either our weekend or our Thursday night videos where we dive deeper into the market maker's expected moves. And so we can see that we were able to get some pretty decent money on both sides of the coin today, both to the upside and to the downside. So you can see over here we got a higher low here on the 5-minute at opening print, and if you get into calls here, you're able to ride that up. Excuse me. Excuse me. And you did get a lower high on the way up, but we ended up getting a higher low, so that allows you to stay in the trade. Your stop losses should be underneath the low of the higher low that we got on the entry there, so you're able to stay in that and continue to work your way up, getting higher lows up until we hit last week's 50% line, this dashed purple line. Another major point of inflection that we always want to know about, and you can see today price reacted to that level. So once you did get the lower high right here, the lower low right here, you were able to exit that position. So pretty decent move to the upside. And then if you switched back out to, since we're decently into the day at that point, if we switch back out to the 1-hour chart, you can see we set a lower high on the 1-hour, and we entered puts with the trigger of the lower high here, and we're able to ride those through the end of the day, cut most of the position, but left a couple runners overnight just to see what would happen, because we are in this downtrend from the 1-hour perspective. You can see we got the lower high here, lower high here, lower high here. We have gotten higher lows, so it is turning more from a downtrend to a consolidation. See, here was the lower high, and then we got a lower low followed by a lower high, but then we got the higher low, lower high, higher low once again. So we're getting consolidation at this point. Not as quite as much volatility, well, at least from Friday. Friday was a pretty big day, but from that perspective, in comparison to Friday, we're not having a lot of volatility. Today was a little bit more volatility intraday. We did have the overnight volatility as well, not quite as much as we did Sunday night to Monday morning. Monday was really pretty muted after the initial push up, but today we got price action to both sides. So there was a little bit more volatility to the day. You can see we're back below the week flip, which is what flips the week green or red. Above this level, the week is green. Below this level, the week is red. And if we look at the upper left-hand part of the chart here, we can see the time frame continuity levels, and we've got the day, the month, and the quarter that are green, but the week is red. So again, another indication of chop or back and forth trading, and again consolidation. So just want to keep an eye on things again from the 4-hour perspective. Like I said, from the 1 hour we got the lower highs, from the 4-hour as well. So we got the high, lower high, excuse me, lower high, big lower low, lower high. Now, this hasn't been locked in as a higher low just yet, right? We got the inside candle for the second 4-hour candle of today. If we would have, went 2 up or broke to the upside, or if price would have went above the high of the first 4-hour candle, then that would have been locked in as the higher low and triggered the 1, 2 down, 2 up. But it stayed inside. I really thought we were going to get the 1, 2 down, 2 up because it didn't have far to go. But we got the lower high on the 1 hour, and that pushed us back down. So the push to the downside on the 4-hour is not yet complete. We could continue to push past today's low tomorrow and pressure last week's low. And we're still an inside candle on the week, so still waiting to decide whether we're going to go 2 up or 2 down or even stay inside on the week. But how things are looking, it looks like we may end up going 2 down on the week. So we'll see how price reacts around this level. That last week's low is also the month and quarter flip as well. So if we go below this level, that flips the week, the month, and the quarter red. Still a little bit of ways to go before flipping the year back red as well. So not quite full time frame continuity to the downside, but having that week, month, and quarter red would really give momentum to the bulls, and we could see these gaps filled. If we do see this gap filled, that would flip the year red, and we're back in full time frame continuity to the downside. Now, one thing I would note is we do have this 4-hour broadening down here. We've got this daily broadening here. We've got last month's 50%, last quarter's 50%. Market makers expected move low. The year flip. It's a lot of support. That's the top of the 11-week range that we were in here, right? From 24 to 28, 29 level. That's the top of that as well. So this could just be a retest of the breakout level that we had. Again, I've talked about it a couple of times, how we only really had intraday retests of that breakout level. And once we broke out, we haven't had a retest yet. So we've talked about how pulling back isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. We've still got a long way, even if we've made a lower low on the day perspective, we still got a long ways to go on the week perspective to make a lower low. Let's just take a look at the day chart and get a little bit cleaner chart here. But we can see, again, here's this 11-week range, the breakout level. Haven't retested it from a day or a week perspective. This was a soft higher low, so until we break below this level, I wouldn't call it a true lower low just yet on the day, just because that's, again, that soft higher low. It all happened within one candle. So we'll see how price continues to move. If we do get the push down tomorrow, do we break this low and create a lower low on the day perspective? Possibly there's not too far to go, so it's a pretty good chance that could happen this week. To the upside, I don't know. We've got to see a lot more to get the upside, right? I really do think that we could be coming back to retest this level. We've hit this weekly broadening formation, this daily broadening formation. There's another weekly broadening formation right up here. We've already hit that market makers expected move high. Last Wednesday, we hit that 100% fib extension of the bull flag from the April 7th low that we had, April to July, created a bull flag, and we hit that 100 fib extension there. So, I'm not hoping for the pullback necessarily. It would be nice to be able to get into some more longer positions if we do end up setting a higher low on the week perspective. It'll take some patience, maybe a couple more weeks to play out to see if that is going to be set as a higher low on the week if we do push below last week's low. But if that does happen, we'll be ready with our triggers and targets to the downside. There's plenty of levels, plenty of targets to the downside. Once we get into our notes here, we'll see where things are going. I think that's enough on the day perspective. Let's just take a quick zoom out. It won't take too much longer on these, and we'll get into the triggers and targets. So we can see, again, we're still inside on the week. Last week, although we did go 2 up, it failed. We closed red in a pretty big, solid red candle. Almost went bearish engulfing, but we're able to keep from doing that. So on the week, again, if we do push down and go 2 down on the week, not the end of the world. We can come all the way down to 2350 level before we have to really worry about making a lower low on the week perspective. So if we do, push down a little bit further, say we close this gap, even if we close the gap on the year flip, maybe wick down, wick off of last year's low and push back up that and put in a higher low. That's all that we can ask for at that point, and then we just have to, watch any long positions, just in case we make a lower high on the week perspective. That's when I really change my tone. When we see that lower high on the week perspective, that's when we see the action to the downside. So let's just look to the left, right? We've got the high, lower high, pretty good push down. We got the high, lower high. That was our April 7th push down. So from the week perspective, you want to watch out for those lower highs. So again, while I wouldn't be mad at setting the higher low, I want to get that higher high as well to continue the uptrend. But we've got this weekly broadening formation, last year's 50% here that could come into play as some resistance in making that higher high. So we'll just continue to play it by ear and continue to work our triggers and targets as the days go on. Let's look at the month. We are still in force on the 2 up. Let me clean this up just a little bit. There we go. So we are still in force on the 2 up, meaning the close price today is higher than last month's high, but you can see what's happening. We've got this inverted hammer going on. We're still green, at least at this point. So in the long run, this could turn out to be what we call in the strat world a Momo hammer or a momentum hammer. I'm sorry, Momo shooter or a momentum shooter. A shooter is just a reverse of a hammer when you're talking about the strat. So it could just be a Momo shooter on the move up. There have been those in the past. This is kind of a Momo shooter. This is kind of a Momo shooter, but we're still in force with the 2 up. So as long as we're up here above this 35.49 level, we're keeping that intact, and we're just continuing to look to the upside. But we do have to notice that there is that big wick on top, meaning we could get that 2 up, 2 down next month, and go ahead and targeting the low of this 2 if we do make that move. The quarter, again, the quarter's been very strong. Getting a little bit of pullback here, but we're still just slightly above the trigger of the 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up. So again, we had the 2 down, 2 up, which turned into a combo 2 up to reach the magnitude of this move. But once we did reach the magnitude of this move, which was at 36.15, that triggered the 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up with the ultimate magnitude of 70.08, the high of this candle here. So I'm not saying it would happen in 1 quarter or even 2 quarters, but as long as we're above that 36.15 level, 70.08 is the end target there. So still looking good from the quarter perspective, but again, we get a little bit of that pullback. The year, again, we've turned things around. So far, we've made a higher low. We did the 1, 2 up, 2 down that did trigger earlier in the year. We got the push down to the April 7th low, 723. So it didn't quite reach the low, 621, this candle, which was the magnitude for that move. So we've got so far a higher low. Pretty good looking hammer here. I'd like to get rid of a little bit of this wick, so if we can push back up further, it's by the end of the year, gives us a lot better chance of turning the 2 down, 2 up next year, which then would have the ultimate magnitude of that 70.08. So things aren't looking too bad. They're we're getting the pullback, but nothing's breaking down from a bull perspective from the higher time frame. So not a whole lot to worry about here, but we do want to just watch how things continue to evolve on the day perspective, and the week especially. Are we going to put in a lower high on the week? And if so, do we need to maybe get out of 26 contracts with that we're still in profit. If we do get a lower high on the week, that we know how that can turn into a bigger move to the downside. So we just want to manage things. I don't think we need to really touch our 27s or 28s at that point, but 26s do come more into question. Novembers have already come into more question, right? They got rid of a lot of our, actually I think most of our November contracts yesterday during the, I guess, little bounce that we had, and only got a few left of those, and just continuing to monitor those. If we get the signal to go back up, or that we're going to go back up from a higher day perspective, 4-hour perspective, we turn around those downtrends, then we'll be looking to get into November contracts again. But for now, we're just really monitoring those and cut down some of our position to take some profit. So let's just zoom back in, look at the 4-hour markers for tomorrow and the triggers and targets for tomorrow. We can see on the chart we've got our 4-hour markers right here. Previous high day at 39.01. Overnight high so far is 37.63. I'm sure that'll change overnight. Same with overnight low, which is 36.59, and then previous low day of 35.95. Again, honorable mention here is the market maker's expected move high, and I guess I'd also call out the week flip and last week's 50% as well. We can see how prices reacted to those levels. All right, so let's get out the right tool here, and let's just say the overnight high and overnight low don't move, and we open up tomorrow right here at 37.19. Again, if you're not familiar with the channel, the rule is we open here, we get a push up, maybe we get a little rejection of overnight high, and we get a little pullback, but then we get a higher low and we continue to push up. Once that higher low is locked in, we want to enter calls, and when we're first targeting overnight high, then previous high day as our targets. If we open here and we get a push down, maybe a bounce off of overnight low and a push back up, but then we get a lower high at or below this opening print, then we want to look at getting puts, first target being overnight low, second target being previous low a day. Not a lot of magnitude on those moves, but this is the proven repeatable strategy. So if you want to load up on contracts, you want to go in the money as opposed to at the money, you want to work it however you want to work it so that you can maximize your profits for those smaller moves. Go ahead and do that, but at the same time, don't overcommit, right? Don't make a bigger play than you normally would just because this range is tight, right? Make sure that if you are going to make that bigger play, you've got your tighter stops or things of that nature to help mitigate your risk. So that's what we're looking for, right? Opening print, we're looking for higher lows at or above opening print, targeting overnight high. If we get the higher low above overnight high, then the next target is previous high of day. If we get pushed down below opening print and then we get a lower high at or below opening print, first target is overnight low, previous low a day. Again, if we get the lower high underneath overnight low, then previous low a day is the target. And then if we get past those levels and we continue to push with momentum, then that's when we roll into the 4-hour triggers and targets, right? This is for more of a intraday, longer term intraday play, day trade, maybe even overnight swing, right? Depending on the type of movement that we get. So if we're looking at the 4-hour, we got the failed 2 down and then an inside candle for the 4-hour candles today. One could say that to the upside, we can still trigger a real sloppy 3-2 down combo 2 up, which would target the high of the 3. But just initially, what would trigger if we get the movement to the upside is a 2-1, 2 up. Again, not barely any magnitude there, because the magnitude of that move would be the high of this 2, which again is not very far at all. But that would, if we do go above that, that would trigger a 1-2 down combo 2 up. Again, not a lot of magnitude there either. That move is the high of this 2. Now that's where the sloppy 3-2 down 2 up could come into play. If we breach the high of this 2, then we're triggering this 3-2 down combo 2 up. Still got to worry about market makers expected move high. Got to worry about this weekly broadening formation as resistance. But if we do break above there, the ultimate target would be the high of this 2, which is the 42.84 level. Now again, we've got this, we don't put a lot of weight into downtrends, but we're just keeping this on the chart to keep in mind that we have been setting lower highs. So even if we do get the push up here, do we set a lower high? right? That could be a problem, right? From a longer term perspective, more of a swing perspective, but from the 4-hour perspective, those would be our targets to the upside. To the downside, you would trigger a 2-1-2 down, magnitude being the low of this 2. But then once you reach that level, then we can say that it would trigger the 2 up combo, 2 down, magnitude being the low of this 2 here, 34.17, which is last week's low. And then if we break below last week's low, then obviously we're triggering a 2 down on the week, which would trigger a 2 up, 2 down. And we'll get into those triggers and targets here in a second. But before we get ahead of ourselves on the week, let's just go to the day perspective. This is more again from a longer term day trade or overnight, couple night swings, maybe up to a week swing, just depending on how things go. But if we do get price to the upside, we trigger the 1, 2 down, 2 up. Now that magnitude is the high of this 2 here, which was that 3 on the 4-hour chart. So the high of 42.84. So again, here we want to watch out for, do we set a lower high, right? If this gets locked in as the higher low here, in comparison to this harder higher low, not this soft higher low, but if this is a higher low here in comparison to here, if we push up and we put a lower high in, then it looks like we could be doing some consolidation here and moving sideways. We really want to look for that 2 up on the week, breaching last week's high, getting higher than this high, and really pushing the theme of uptrend with the higher low, higher high, right? So that's the 1, 2 down, 2 up combo, one of my favorite combos. Now, if we get movement to the downside tomorrow, this is a 2-1 combo, 2 down. Magnitude, again, being the low of this candle, 34.17, which is last week's low. Again, also the month and quarter flip. So if we push below there, we're getting a lot more momentum to the bears, and we can look to make the lower low on the day and pushing to possibly even close some gaps. We'll get into the magnitude of the 2 up, 2 down on the week here in a second. Right now, I'll just flip to the notes so that we can just look at the numbers. So again, for Wednesday, October 15th, there will be 52 trading days left in 2025. Today's close price was 36.63, and we can see that the week has flipped red, right? So to go back green on the week, we need to get above 38.23. But for now, the month, the quarter, and the year are still green. They go red at these levels. Expected move for the week is $5.41 in both directions. So with the close of Friday and $5.41 in both directions, that gives us a range of 39.62 to 28.80. And we know, of course, where our gaps above and gaps below are. So from the 4-hour perspective, again, we talked about the scalping perspective, and we're not going to put those up. You just play the 4-hour levels. But from a more of a long-term day trade, possibly overnight swing perspective, looking at the 4-hour chart, if we get price action to the downside, that's a failed 2 down, red 1, 2 down, triggering at 36.53 with a magnitude of 35.95 and an extended target of 35.49. If we go to the upside, we have a failed 2 down, red 1, 2 up, reversal, which triggers at 38.96 with the magnitude of 39.01. Now at 39.01, that triggers that 1, 2 down, combo 2 up, on the 4-hour, and that has the extended targets of 39.47 and 40.94. From the day perspective, day chart perspective, we would go to the downside. We would go 2 down, green 1, combo 2 down, triggering at 35.95 with the magnitude of 34.17, extended targets of 33.18 and 32.44. If we trigger to the upside, that gives us a 2 down, green 1, 2 up reversal, triggering at 39.47 with a magnitude of 42.84. If we do continue to push up past that, that's a pretty big move, but if we do continue to push that past that, we have got the extended targets here, 43.37, 43.80, and 44.24. All right, we already went over the week, month, and quarter and year charts, so I won't flip those back onto the screen here. We'll just go through the triggers and targets. We're still inside on the week, so we haven't triggered 2 down or 2 up yet. We're a lot closer to triggering that 2 down, right, at 36.63. That 2 down triggers at 34.17, and it has a magnitude of 33.57, so that's a pretty decent move, right? Once we reach magnitude there are extended targets of 33.18, 31.25, and 30.68. That's if we really get moving to the downside. Now, if we're able to reverse things, we push up overnight. Let's see, right now, yeah, I mean, we're up 1.5% overnight. So if we're able to continue the push up overnight and we get a push further up tomorrow, don't know that we would trigger the 2 up on the week tomorrow. Be a pretty big move. That'd be running the whole magnitude of the day strat reversal, and then some. But if we were to reach that 43.37, then we would trigger the 2 up with the target of 43.80, 45.67 extended target, and 46.79 if we're really running. And if we do get that trigger to the downside again, that 34.17, 33.57, I don't think that's really too hard for us to get. The top of that 11-week range and that breakout point is 29. So if we go to the downside, we could fall where I think we could fall down to that 29 level. 33 wouldn't be hard to hit. So just continue to watch things from the week. We're inside on the week. One of the main rules of the strategy: don't make a move on a 1 or an inside week. So if you're making any trades based off the week chart, you don't want to be making any moves just yet till we decide which way we're going to go. Again, from the month, we did trigger the 2 up. We're still in force because we're above that 35.49 level. We already reached one target, but we've still got our extended targets to go. Almost reached this one Thursday of last week, I think it was, Wednesday of last week. And you can see that's really close to the trigger for the 2 up on the week. So who knows, by the end of the week, we could be up there at the 43.80 level, or the end of the month, 43.80 level. If we were to go bearish engulfing or red 3 on the month, got to get all the way down to the 23.80 level. So don't think that we would get there, but do need to make sure that we have that in our notes. On the quarter, again, we ran the 2 down combo 2 up strat. We reached the magnitude, and that magnitude then triggered the 1 combo 2 down combo 2 up. So again, the 2 down combo 2 up triggered at 35.49, and we reached that magnitude of 36.15. When this 1 combo 2 down combo 2 up triggered at 36.15, we did reach the target of 38.89, 42.04. The ultimate magnitude of that move is 70.08. So we do have these extended targets on the way up, and even once we hit 50, we'll have some more extended targets before we get to 70. But right now, just want to stay above that 36.15 level, and we keep that 1 combo 2 down combo 2 up triggered. And then we talked about the year, how we did trigger the 1 2 up 2 down, but we've done a pretty good reversal of that, making a higher low, not quite getting to that 621, but making a higher low, and turning the year around. Got the green hammer for right now. A little bit of wick on top, but looking pretty hammerish so far, and setting up a 2 down 2 up for next year. So again, from a high time frame perspective, things haven't really broken down just yet. We're just watching that week really closely at this point, just to see if we need to change our tone at all for the beginning for contracts that would expire at the end of this year, beginning of next year, midway through first quarter next year. That's where we want to be looking at this week chart for. So that's it for the triggers and targets. I hope that you enjoyed this video and the breakdown that we gave. Tried to keep it short, but include as much information as we can. Again, it's a free channel, so if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It does help us grow and spread the word, not only about SOXL, even though it's been around for a while and it's got quite a few traders, but we'd love to add to the trading pool of SOXL, but also want to just continue to put the strat out there. Basically, it was. I looked at charts for many years before I came across the strat a few years ago, and if I had $1 for every time, if I just learned this before I learned all the other stuff, it would have made trading so much easier from the beginning. That's what we're just trying to spread is information to make trading as easy as possible, and with the strat, that's really like the easiest way to break down price movement. So hope everybody has enjoyed this video. If you're watching this tonight, make sure you get some good rest. Wake up refreshed tomorrow. If you're catching the video in the morning, I hope you had some good rest last night and you're feeling refreshed this morning, ready to attack the day, and look forward to getting out there and trading with you.